Hello everyone, it's DA here. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you are doing fantastic. Today we are going to be talking about the problem with healer roles in Division 2. This is a discussion that recently resurfaced since the Warlords of New York expansion. The developers have stated that they wanted build diversity, and even with some of these recent changes and upcoming skill changes, it seems that healer roles are still going to be left in the back burner. They're not getting the changes or the improvements that they need. Even if they buff the skill's effectiveness, healers will still not be a highly viable option in most runs, especially for everything that is heroic difficulty and higher. And this is something that is also going to be very important if they ever bring back survival modes. The problem is that enemy AI have to do little to counter the heals in the game. Even if you make a build that gives 3 million health per second, the players you are healing can still get destroyed in the process within a split of a second. And this is because there is no form of armor gating or resilience attached to the healing and the skills. Some of the healing ways don't heal enough to offset the damage that the player is taking, so in the end, most players resort to CC, DPS, and tank builds, and any player who chose to go with skills have their only viability if they do it for damage or for crowd control. I know some of these proposals can seem problematic and can become a problem in PvP. However, if they go with these ideas, then they would make some changes to balance things out in PvP situations. Back in the day in Warframe, we used to have this thing called 99% Trinity, and this is a build that would give players 99% damage reduction against enemies when we are receiving healing from Trinity Warframe. This didn't give us 100% immunity, but players are glad to have a healer in a group, especially in high-level activities such as raids. The healing effect didn't limit the team's DPS potential, but rather it gave DPS players the freedom to cause havoc and move around and go to their fullest potential, knowing that they will be protected. In Destiny 2, we have this thing called Well of Radiance. This is a Warlock ability, and of course you also have the Titan's Bubble as well. Those are things that make healer roles quite viable and quite interesting to play, and with the Bubble and the Well of Radiance, they both serve as a buff to players who stand inside of it, and when you play activities such as raids or even some dungeon runs, a well-timed well or a well-timed bubble makes a lot of difference because they are doing two things. They're not just healing, they're either giving you some form of a damage reduction, some form of a debuff, or they're giving you some form of a buff as well. Now, once again, what these two examples have is the power to offset incoming damage in PvE, and with limitations, of course, to PvP. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably thinking about different talents that we have in the game already that can already do some of these things, but we're not going and looking for talents here, because adding talents and adding new talents and making this thing here and putting that over there is just going to band-aid all these problems and not going to fix them. Because I know a lot of people will be talking about things such as Vanguard, but the resulting armor is also meaningless against high-level content, and it requires the holding player to be a massive tank. As a healer in any game, you shouldn't have to be a tank. In today's sandbox, if you run healer, you better be useful for something else, maybe CC or another damage potential, or you will be limiting your team's overall damage output. Having a healer on your team doesn't change the way you play even if you didn't have one, so why have a healer then? The main problem here are going to be with the healing skills, the Mender Seekers, the Hives, the Launchers. Mender Seekers, for example, need to have at least 2 or 3 extra mines so that each of them permanently stays with players that you disperse them to. And if you have less people in a group, the Seeker will move to the one that needs more healing. I propose that the healer shouldn't just offer heals but also offer some form of a damage reduction and some resistance bonus, like maybe your Mender Seeker mines has damage protection against explosive, maybe to a certain percentage. And in PvP, these things can be tuned down to make sure that it doesn't become too powerful. Bring back healing stations like we had in Division 1. And as for healing hives, give it the ability to constantly leak itself to players within range until it's destroyed. Also make it offer another resistance bonus, such as maybe status protection, so players within range don't have to feel like they have to run out of the way and roll out of the way every single time. At least one of the main goals of the recent update is to reduce aggression and change the grenade accuracy and all those things, but giving healers a little bit of a resistance and bonuses like status protection will be a great thing as well. Launching a healer burst with a canister should give players damage reduction or some form of immunity to elite enemies for a few seconds as well. This means that a healer doesn't just have to be a tank, and healing skills would mean more to players than just something that just pads you up a little bit. And if they ever make these changes, it should be an overall to skills in general, not another chest or backpack talent, because like I said earlier, those are just band-aids. We don't need another exotic or gear set to make these things happen. We need it to be something that is easily and quickly accessible to players who play the game. Healer roles don't need to be a band-aid. As I said once again, they need actual viability and an actual fix. And give us the revived drones that the Black Tusk use as well, because that can be quite useful in some situations where you don't want to have to run back there or run way over there in front of you to revive a player that is down. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.